First question I have for Jamie and Heath. This was a 12-team PPR league, and the way it worked was Jamie, Dave, Heath, Ben. They each made every 4 picks. They
You should probably reference which Ben.
Ben Gretsch. Yes, Ben Gretsch. They each made 4 picks per round and controlled 4 teams, basically. Was it a 3-receiver league?
Yes.
Yes.
I knew the answer was going to be yes to that. Basically, we have transitioned to the big 3-receiver. Like every single draft we do is 3 receivers. Okay. 12 teams, PPR, 3 receivers. 5 running backs went to start the draft, including David Johnson. He was 4th overall, right? Ahead of Zeke?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that was Ben, who loves David Johnson. And you guys probably hated that pick, right?
He's on my bust list.
Yeah, that high, absolutely. I could still be okay with him in the first round, but it's got to be the back half.
So it was Saquon, Kamara, McCaffrey, David Johnson, and Ezekiel Elliott with the first 5 picks. This was done yesterday, by the way, Tuesday. Then wide receivers throughout. DeAndre Hopkins, wide receivers throughout the rest of the round. Juju Smith-Schuster to Heath, who took him ahead of Devontae Adams. Then Odell Beckham to Ben. And then Devontae Adams to Jamie. Must have been pretty happy to get your number 1 wide receiver, 9th overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, and Tyreek Hill. I think Heath is probably in there moving the cursor around. Is that you, Heath?
I am. Yeah, I do that.
Okay, yeah. Distracting.
Really drives you crazy.
So there you go. You've got your top 7 wide receivers all in the first round in a 3-receiver PPR league. I want to okay, this is not necessarily about when these guys are going. This is about how to draft at each spot. So let's look at Team 12. Team 12 tried to go 0 RB. And personally, I hate it. I bet Ben, if he were here, he might like it. But I don't know. I don't know about that. So it was Tyreek Hill. It was very Chiefsy, by the way. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce at the 1-2 turn. Chris Godwin, Patrick Mahomes at 36 and 37 overall. Then Jarvis Landry and Curtis Samuel in rounds. What would that be? That would be 4 and 5 and 6. Sorry, rounds 5 and 6. Landry and Curtis Samuel. 6 picks without a running back, but starting with Mahomes at quarterback, Kelce at tight end, and at wide receiver. Oh, was there a flex in this league? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So those are all starters for him.
Yeah. Tyreek, except for running back. Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, Jarvis Landry, Curtis Samuel. Yeah, those are all. I know what you meant now. Those are all starters. His running backs are Matt Breida, Rashad Penny, Kalen Ballage, Justice Hill, Ito Smith, Chase Edmonds, and Raquel Armstead. Again, it's Breida, Penny, Kalen Ballage, Justice Hill, Ito Smith, Chase Edmonds, Raquel Armstead. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about 0 RB, but there's not one starting running back there. At least it doesn't seem that way. I don't know that this team would work. What do you guys think?
I think in a 3 wide receiver league where you also start a flex, you're looking at a situation where he probably has the best quarterback, probably has the best tight end, in my opinion, has one of the 5 or 6 best wide receivers. He's fine at number 2 receiver, probably good in PPR at number 3 receiver.
Let's say who these names are, because I know people can't remember.
Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, Jarvis Landry, and then Curtis Samuel as your flex. I don't really like the Jarvis Landry, Curtis Samuel turn.
Right. Yeah.
There are other receivers that he could have stuck with the plan and gone receiver, and I would have been happy with it. He was a little shook when I took Kenyon Drake at the end of the 5th. I believe he cursed at me. And then he cursed at me again when I took Latavius Murray at the end of the 7th. So he just missed out on having a couple of much better options at running back. But I really think that turn with Landry and Samuel was, in my opinion, where it kind of went wrong. But also, if Landry is a top 25 receiver like he has been, and Samuel breaks out like Jamie said, I don't think it matters who your running backs are. I think you can take 5 points per week from your running backs.
No,
and you're beating everybody.
I don't know. That's a best case scenario.
But I mean, I agree with you what you said. It's the Landry Samuel turn is where it goes south, especially given the guys that he passed up on. Forget about the receivers, because you can argue all you want to about the guys that went right after him of D.D. Westbrook and Allen Robinson and Christian Kirk being better than those other guys. I'm not going to fight you on that. But like, he passed on Marlon Mack and Duke Johnson. Forget about missing on Drake. Either one of those 2 guys makes his roster incrementally better.
And he just does not like running backs in that range of the draft. I mean, he's been on here and talked about it. He wrote a whole piece about it.
Sure, but it's also then what he could have done at the receiver spot by comparison to the running backs that he got to, which I'll let you bring up, Adam.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to spend the whole time on this team, but yeah, I think if for most of us, if instead of Jarvis Landry and Curtis Samuel, he had taken one of those guys plus Marlon Mack or Duke Johnson or Austin Eckler, it'd be a safer team. And then he could have gotten Larry Fitzgerald later. He could have gotten a host of guys. All right. So let's go through these teams, right? So let's then go to, since we're 13 picks in, Travis Kelce was the second pick of round 2. Let's go to Heath at pick 11. You took Michael Thomas, and then in round 2, there are no more. Mike Evans is the next receiver, and only 5 running backs are off the board at that point. So what were you thinking there in round 2?
Yeah, I generally expect, like I don't make the intentional plan and don't stick to it, but I generally expect I'm going to go 0 running back from the 11th pick. But when 7 of them go in the first round and James Conner's staring at me with the second pick of the second round, I'm thrilled with that. To start with Michael Thomas and James Conner, very, very happy with that start. Mike Evans, I've taken him a couple of picks after this. I think Ben took him 3 picks after this. I can't take, as much as I'm excited about his upside, I can't take Mike Evans over James Conner or Nick Chubb.
Dave had the 10th pick. He took Julio Jones, and then coming back in the second round, he went with Nick Chubb. So similar strategy to Heath. Heath goes Michael Thomas, James Conner. Dave has Julio Jones, Nick Chubb. We're kind of snaking back here in the second round. We're going from the 12th, team 12 to 11 to 10, now to 9. Jamie, you had Devontae Adams in round 1, and with your second pick, you were looking at Mike Evans, but you decided to take a running back.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, as I agree with Heath. As much as I like Mike Evans, I wasn't going to pass up either of those 3 running backs if they fell to me of Conner, Chubb, or Bell. And you could have probably talked me into Joe Mixon if I didn't get one of those 3 guys.
Okay, so then Ben decided with pick 8, he took Odell Beckham in round 1. So now he's on the clock with his second pick, and with Conner, Chubb, and Bell off the board plus Travis Kelce, he went with Mike Evans. And this is also a somewhat 0 RB team for Ben in the 8 spot. We'll come around to it in round 3 when he picks his first running back. So it's more like a 1 RB. So Heath, you were up with the 7th pick. You took Juju Smith-Schuster. And now you've got 8 wide receivers off the board plus 8 running backs. And your second pick for the Juju team, picking out of the 7th spot, was?
It was Joe Mixon, and I don't really feel great about it. I'm a little bit concerned about every running back left and excited at the same time. I think Joe Mixon has the same top 5 upside that we've talked about with Kerryon and with Dalvin Cook, but I would much prefer in that spot to get Mike Evans. So I wish that had happened, but it didn't.
Okay, but you deem Mixon better than any of the next wide receivers, any of the tight ends?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so then Dave. So like what's from a takeaway standpoint, what's a little frustrating about this draft is that for you listeners out there, like the second tight end and the third tight end, they went earlier than they probably will in your drafts, and they both went to Dave. Dave
and the first tight end based on ADP.
Yeah, I think that's more common though to see Kelce going 13th overall.
Don't disagree. I'm just saying, based on what the averages are.
Kittle went to Dave with the 7th pick of round 2, and then Zach Ertz went to Dave with the second to last pick of round 2. So he went Hopkins, Kittle with team 6, picking out of the 6th spot, Hopkins and Kittle, which Jamie put you on the clock with Ezekiel Elliott. And this is a PPR 3 receiver league. You decided it was okay to go with 2 running backs.
I did it a couple times. Yeah, I just took the best player available. I wasn't going to reach. The only player I would have considered would have been Keenan Allen if I was not taking a running back. But for me, it was either going to be Kerryon Johnson, Dalvin Cook, or Leonard Fournette.
Why did you go with Kerryon Johnson?
I just think he's got the most upside as a pass catcher of that trio.
Okay, then we go to Ben, who had David Johnson with the 4th pick, and he took Dalvin Cook. So that's another team that started running back. And then Heath, with Kerryon Johnson, Dalvin Cook recently off the board. You had Christian McCaffrey with the 3rd overall pick. So this is your 2nd round pick. What did you do?
I took Keenan Allen, and I actually have Allen in PPR, especially in 3 wide receiver leagues, just ahead of. I love that Kerryon Cook Fournette group, but I have Allen just ahead of them. It was a little bit of a tough choice with Ertz because I like Ertz more than Kittle, and I think this is right about the spot he should go in PPR, but the 3 wide receivers pushed me over the edge to Allen.
All right, so you went with Christian McCaffrey and Keenan Allen. Dave, picking from the 2 spot, had Alvin Kamara. He went with Zach Ertz in the second round. And Jamie had Saquon Barkley. And then let's talk. Okay, so this team I think is worth getting into right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Saquon Barkley was your first pick, a 3-receiver PPR league. And what did you do with your second and third picks?
I just decided I was going to be a little different and take best player as opposed to best guy for position. So I took the 2 best players that I had ranked, which were Leonard Fournette and Todd Gurley. And I thought,
running back.
Let's figure it out.
It's this is a good point though, because it like this happens to me a lot, and I don't get to pick in the first 3 very often for some reason. When I pick in the first 3, what happened to Jamie and what happened with Ben happens to me a lot in the 12 pick. Maybe not quite as extreme, but Jamie starts off his team with no wide receivers in his first 4 rounds. Ben from the 12 spot starts off with no running backs in his first 6 picks, and I don't think that's really that abnormal.
I'll tell you the thing about this team that I love and I hate. Like, if you're just in a vacuum telling me I can have A.J. Green, Sterling Shepard, and Emmanuel Sanders with the 3 running backs that I have of Barkley, Fournette, and Gurley, and then the tight end and Ingram, the only thing that I don't like is that I'm locked in with the Giants. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have 3 Giants, Barkley, Ingram, and
as
Shepard.
talents, though. Like, if you tell me that I'm getting 16 games out of those 3 running backs, 2 running backs and a flex, I'm starting all 3 guys. I mean, we've all, glowed about Ingram. If A.J. Green comes back after 3 weeks and gives me the majority of the season, I mean, a lot of ifs, obviously. But I think, given the fact that I started with 3 running backs and still able to get not just the 3 receivers that I got, because I do like Crowder and Brown as 4th and 5th options on their own, I actually like the way that it came together.
All right, so the team is Russell Wilson, a quarterback. He was a round 12 pick. The running backs are Saquon Barkley, Leonard Fournette, and Todd Gurley. Those are your 2 running backs in your flex. The tight end is Evan Ingram. And then you have A.J. Green, Sterling Shepard, and Emmanuel Sanders starting for you, with some good bench wide receivers as well. I won't read all the names, but A.J. Green, Sterling Shepard, Emmanuel Sanders. And you could throw John Brown, Jamison Crowder in there if you don't like Sanders.
Well, I have to start one of them for the first couple weeks.
Oh, right, because of A.J. Green. Right, exactly. So, yeah, and you backed up Todd Gurley with Malcolm Brown, which is nice. All right, let's compare that team to one of your other teams. How about Team 5, which also started running back, but not 3 running backs. So Team 1 for Jamie in a 3-receiver PPR league did not take a wide receiver until round 5. He went Barkley, Fournette, Gurley, Evan Ingram. Team 5 for Jamie, picking out of the 5 spot, went Ezekiel Elliott, Kerryon Johnson, but then Julian Edelman, Kenny Golladay, and O.J. Howard. So you went with receivers with picks 3 and 4, and you went with you got an elite, a second tier great tight end, just like Team 1 did. You have Austin Eckler. You have Sammy Watkins as your 3rd receiver. Is Austin Eckler your flex on this team? Yeah, right. So it's Zeke.
Well,
Kerryon
I hope
Johnson,
so. I hope so. But if I don't have Elliott to start the season, then I'm starting Eckler and Kerryon Johnson, and I'm scrambling a little bit at the flex spot to start the year.
Yeah. Well, I think which team do you like better? So this team is Lamar Jackson, Zeke, Kerryon, and Eckler, Edelman, Golladay, and Watkins, O.J. Howard at tight end, compared to the Barkley, Fournette, Gurley team with Evan Ingram at tight end, Green, Sterling Shepard, Emmanuel Sanders, John Brown, and Jamison Crowder. Which team do you like better?
If I have Elliott for 16 games, it's this one.
Yeah. But if you have Gurley as Todd Gurley in the 3rd round pick, it might be that one.
Well, yes, but I think just looking at it, taking a step back at it, there are a lot more ifs with Team 1 than there are with Team 5. The biggest if is the 1st round pick.
And I think it's worth saying that this approach kind of shows you what can happen when you're picking on the end, because Jamie should have had better receivers. There was a run in round 4 where Tyler Lockett, T.Y. Hilton, Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley, Kenny Golladay, DJ Moore, Tyler Boyd, Josh Gordon, all taken in like 8 picks in a row right before Jamie. most of those guys are not going to go in the 4th round, and very few drafts are all of those guys going to go in.
Well, it's also, I mean, look, we are drafting, and I'm confident in saying this, with 4 of the best people in this industry.
Right.
And it's very challenging. Like, you know, we get through. It's exhausting after this is over because you are going through every single player. We do not draft defenses. We do not draft kickers. So Ben at the end is saying, like he's just throwing running backs at the wall, making a joke about it. Like he drafted Rex Burkhead. Heath drafted Jerick McKinnon. You know, these guys are never going to get drafted at this point. And to Heath's point about the run on receivers, we actually devalue running backs in this draft. That is never going to be the case. You're not going to see Mark Ingram in the 5th round. David Montgomery's not making it to the 5th round. Marlon Mack is not making it to the 6th round. Duke Johnson's not making it to the 6th. It's just not happening. So and
you don't think so in a 3-receiver PPR
no,
league? You don't think possible?
not in every casual draft. I mean, you know, I've done now 4 drafts with my friends who are, I would say, experienced players, but they're not, you know, digesting this on a day-to-day basis like we do. And so, like, you know, the quarterbacks go much earlier. You know, the names that they know go much earlier.
Right. Well, that's why I thought maybe the running backs would fall because they do take the quarterbacks earlier. But fair enough.
Some of the running backs will fall. Like the guys that we've been pumping up, a few of them will just, like, there will be lots of drafts this weekend where Duke Johnson doesn't go in the first 6 or 7 rounds.
Well, I did a draft with friends who I don't consider to be very much in tune with what's going on. I mean, they tell me, they're like, oh, I just, you know, started reading some stuff, listened to a couple of your podcasts to see what you're going to do the day of.
Right.
And Duke Johnson went in the 4th round. And this is, from a guy that I know does not really pay much attention to it.